and welcome to the latest handpicked by Jamie. That's me, if you haven't met me before. And I've picked a whole host of goodies from Craftmania to bring you in one big bundle. And I'm going to be honest with you, for May, we have the hugest saving I believe we've had so far with our handpicked by kits. Don't expect this is going to happen every time, because we just physically can't afford to do it this way. But this month's kit is actually worth £62.78, and you can buy all the bits I'm going to show you for just £30, so it's better than half price. And these are good bits, so you're going to want to get hold of this. As always, we have limited stock, so please don't look for this to be around forever. If you do want to get hold of them, make sure you get your orders in as soon as you possibly can. If you are brand new to the Handpicked by Jamie bundles, how this works is at the beginning of the month, we upload this video that you're now watching. In it, we're going to talk through the bundle. I'm going to show you 11 or 12 samples I've created. We're going to do a very basic demo, and then halfway-ish through the month, we will release another video to give you a bit more inspiration. Now, alongside with this, we have the Craftmania design team, who will also be making samples and sharing them on our Facebook groups, on our Facebook pages, on our blog, on our website, so you can go on and find out lots more inspiration on how you can create different things with these kits. We'd also really love to see what you make, but I'll talk to you more about how you can share your creations at the end of the video. So I'm sure you really want to know, so what's in the bundle? What are we going to get in May? So we're going to start off, and I'm going to show you the first of our 3 different paper packs. Now this month I have cheated a little bit, I'm going to be honest, because this is all about making sure your colours work together, your designs work together, your themes work together, and we've sort of left the magic to the Paper Tree Company. And what we have got for you is Where Wild Roses Grow collection. So we have papers, we have a die cut collection, and we have a card collection. Now, if you've never gone for one of these sort of sets before, you are missing out on so much. I'm never very good at picking and flicking, but we're going to give it a whirl. This is your decorative paper pack. So these are all A4, so this is UK A4, 21 centimetres by 29.7 centimetres. They're single-sided, they're 160 GSM, and you're going to get 32 sheets in the packet. These are beautiful. I personally really love that design. I think it is gorgeous. But as we flick through them, you've got your dots, you've got your roses, you've got your checks or your tartans. We've got more flowers, we've got some nice lattice work, lattice with flowers, random flowers, and then you're going to start to see you're going to get repeats of these, so that if you wish to do more than one project with them, or you want to do big projects, you've got all of that to work through. Lots and lots of scope to play around with. Lovely coordinating designs, and a bit like the whole idea of the bundle, it doesn't matter what sort of sheets you start putting together, you're going to see that everything coordinates, everything's going to work together. Now, not only does that work for this part, we've then got our lovely die cut set. So in our die cut collection, same idea again. So we've got A4 sheets, this time same size, single sided once again. These are 300 GSMs, they've got a little bit more support to them, and we get 16 sheets in this packet. Now, as I mentioned, these are all die cut, so if I just pop that out there for a second, we can see each of these is just going to pop straight out of the sheets, you're ready to work with them. And in here, we have our lovely sort of doily designs with our circle text. We get a couple of sheets of them. So again, if you do wish to do more than one, you can. You know, you've not just got one card chance and then it's done. You've then got flat circles, which are going to work really well with the die that we've got coming up. We have got these really cool sort of shaped squares. And on the edge of this one, we've got borders to go with it. Then we've got some more modern funky shapes, as I'd like to call them. We've also got matching circles again that can go really well with one of the dies you're going to receive in your bundle. We have this element, which is what we're going to be using on our demo today, whereby we receive the corners and we've got the parts go in the middle, and you've got that at least twice through these. You've then got separate frames, separate panels, and then square elements down the side here to work with. There's 2 of them, obviously. Then we go on to our circles and oval texts. So all your sentiments are matching. We've then got larger sentiments, and you've got things like, you make me smile, let's celebrate, if friends were flowers, I'd pick you, make a wish on your birthday. I really personally like these subtle pink ones with this sort of creamy florals on them. We then have some smaller squares and rectangles for your sentiments as well. So lots and lots, and even these are all die cuts. You can just pop them out, they're ready to work with. So 16 sheets in total in that one. Lots of, I haven't counted to be fair, but lots and lots of components you're going to be able to build up and work with. And again, as I'm sure you're already one step ahead of me, these are going to match perfectly with the first pack that we looked at. So we've got your toppers, we've got some of your decorative papers, then we have your essential card collection. So this is 32 sheets, A4 again, single-sided, 200 GSM. So not a bad weight to be working with. 32 sheets in this packet. Now one of the nice bits with this one is we break it down to some plain cards. So not all of it's plain, but some of it's plain. So if we want to bring in our pattern paper, for instance, if you look just here alone, we've got our lattice, we've got our die-cut topper, and we've got our coloured card to do your mats and layers with. So this really is going to work perfectly for you. Not only have we got your planes, we've got stripes, we've got dots, we've got hearts, then we go back to the beginning, but more hearts, more stripes, more planes, more colours, all of it just working through there. And there is again 32 sheets. So 32 sheets in the first set, 16 die cut toppers in the second set, and 32 sheets in the next set. So that's an awful lot to work with and plough through. Now, one of the things I really wanted with this is something for you to enhance your designs with. So we're going to give you a bottle of Cosmic Shimmer Clear Varnish Lacquer. Now this is beautiful because when it goes on, it will dry clear. I'm going to give you a sneaky at the card we're going to be demoing on this little video. And hopefully you can see on the top here of our roses, we have that varnish glazed effect. This is this stuff in action. We literally pop it on, let it dry, and it will dry with a varnished effect. So anytime you want to go in and highlight your flowers or your little details, that is perfect to do so. If you wish to sprinkle in glitters and bits as well, no reason why you can't, because you've now got a medium that's going to be in the area that you can apply stuff to. So think of adding on your iridescent glitters, or even your coloured glitters, or your powders, different micro elements. Could be good fun. That's going to be in there as well. Then we go on to your dies. So dies are essential, obviously. So we have your frames and tags Arial. So Arial is brilliant. We have 4 different dies in this one. And I have them off to one side already, actually. So I'm going to share with you these, because I think it's important sometimes we see how they break down. So we have our outside edge. Now this is your cutting edge. So that's the one that's going to cut out. So if you want to be cutting this into an aperture, you can do. If you wish to cut just a solid plate to put under the die, you can do. Or if you wish to nest it with our doily element and cut them out as a doily, of course you can as well. We then have just your doily element. Now this is beautiful. And I've already gone ahead and I've cut one of these out because I wanted you to see this. If you just take this element and cut it into your card, because it hasn't got the outside or inside blade around the edges or the die cut around the edges, this is the effect it's going to create on your cardstock, which I think is just gorgeous, especially when you think of all them circle sentiments that you can be popping in the middle of this. On top of that, you will find in your die cut elements, you have 2 different sizes of these scallop shapes. And when we bring these in, you will notice that they match perfectly with the doily die, so that the bumps are all in exactly the same places. So whether you're using the small or the large one of these scallop die cut elements, they're going to fit and match up with your die. I promise you, a lot of thought goes into these kits. It doesn't just happen, but it will coordinate perfectly for you. So again, like this, if we nest this on top of this, we have the perfect area to go in and add gems and bits like that into them circles if we wish to. So going back to our die, we then have that area. We have this one that we spoke about. We then have a circle. Now this circle fits perfectly in the middle. So if you wish to cut that out as an aperture, turn it into a photo frame, maybe for a scrapbook album, or if you wish to cut the middle out of this one and put it as a photo frame or as an element on your card or an aperture and then have something hanging in the centre of this part, you certainly can. If you wish to add in more detail, we then have the next die down. Now this is your piercing die for the middle, so it has all of these little circles cut out of it to give you even more depth and circles and laciness to your doily if you prefer. So with your 4 interchangeable bits, you're going to have an awful lot of options on how to work that through and play around with it. Now we mentioned gems. So these are our pearls, these are our sun pearl gems. I absolutely love these. We do these in 3 different colours at Craftmania. So many people message me asking me where the middles of my flowers come from. These are the beauties, and these are just stunning. We can colour them with alcohol markers if we want to, we can glitter them, we can sparkle them up even further, but I actually quite like them in the just plain colours as well, and they fit perfectly into these little circles. So when we talk about putting gems and bits in those circles, these are going to fit effortlessly to give you more depth and dimension. And we get quite a few on here, so you could do a couple of them if you wanted to all the way around. But to be honest, if you want to add more of them into your order, they're not expensive. You'll find them on the website. You can add more in. Then to top your kit off, dye-wise, we have your background dye. This is our Dotty Scalloped Celebration dye. Now, this is a big old dye. This one is 12.5 centimetres by 12.5 centimetres. It's one of my favourite designs because we can use it in any direction. It doesn't matter which way we turn this one, it still looks beautiful. It actually reminds me a bit here of like gingerbread house roofs or Victorian tiled roofs. There is more in this collection as well from Sue, where she's got balloons and party streamers and bits that go with it from the celebration collection. So you could certainly dress it up in that theme as well if you want to. One of the nice bits with Sue's large background dies like so is they don't have an outside cutting edge to them, so they're going to stay in your cardstock. So if you want to cut this into the front of your card and have really lacy fronts, this is going to do that for you. You can then either trim it out with a guillotine or a trimmer, or if you have some of the noble dies, whether they're the pierced dies or the stitch dies, you could then put that around the outside and trim it out if you want to use it as a separate panel. There's a lot of options because of it doesn't have that side to it, so you've got more freedom to create, and I always think that's essential. The more freedom we can give you, the better. So it's going to give you then your Dotty Celebration background. You're going to have your aerial dye. You're going to have your clear varnish. We've got the 3 different packs of paper. We have the gems. What else do we need? A little bit of ribbon. So to top it off, we have 3 half meters of ribbon, all in pinks, which are going to coordinate perfectly with your bundle. So we have just a sheer ribbon. We have a sheer ribbon with a satin edge that's quite thin, and we have a sheer ribbon with a satin edge which is a little bit thicker. So these are going to make your perfect bows or borders to go along with your papers and hopefully bring it all together for you. And that completes your May bundle. Now, as I mentioned, we have broke the budget with this one. It is £62.78 worth of stuff, and it's all yours for just £30. So please don't look for us to repeat this again next month, because it just physically can't happen. But while we've got this little set, this is your time to jump in and get them. So we're going to pop all of that to one side for a second, and I'm going to share with you just a few of the cards that I've created with this. We'll try and tidy up as we go. So you've seen this one already. We're going to be demoing this in a second. So I'm going to pop that one off to one side, and we'll come back to that and tell you more about that as we go. If we wish to bring our components together and make little Z-fold cards, this is going to work really well. So if I open this one out, we can see here that we have our background papers going on. We have one of that lovely floral piece. We've got one of our toppers that have been popped out. On here, we've got one of our more funky shaped toppers as well. In the background, we've got our celebration die. We've got our varnish going over the flowers to give them just a bit of a shimmer as well, or a bit of a shine. One thing I would note as well is if you do have some of our coconut white foundations card, you're going to find this tones in really nicely with these designs, and they're used on quite a lot of my samples. So if you've never bought coconut white card before, this might be the time to add some of that onto your order as well, because just tonally, it's going to work really well with this. If we hadn't blown the budget already, the plan was to give you a few sheets of it. But maybe next month or the month after we might be able to do that. But in the meantime, treat yourself. You can buy it by the single sheets on the website, or you can buy it in packs of 20. So it's not a bad way for you to get it and have a little go with it. If you've never seen it before, it's not quite white and it's not quite cream. It's a really lovely middle ground that's beautiful. Moving on to this one. So again, keeping it really simple. Nothing here has to be complicated. We have background papers, we have the card from in the bundle, we have our celebration die. This time you can see I've layered it in with the pierced squares to cut it out for us. We then have our layers coming on here with our aerial die. So the green in the background is using just the outside edge to cut out the backing panel. Then we of course have the lacy parts, sentiment in the middle, flowers around the edge. Flowers you're going to see throughout all of these cards are the Cosmos flower set, which again you're going to find on the website. If you've not got that one, it's a beautiful one. You might want to add that in as well, depending on how far we can go with you in May. So I want to break the bank, but then don't forget we have ClearPay now. So whatever your order is, you can divide your payments by 4. So it does make it a little bit better if that helps. It's completely free, interest-free credit, so it doesn't cost you anything in that way. And you break your payments down into 4 sets over 2 weekly periods. So if you've not seen that on the website, you might appreciate it. Onto this card. Very similarly done to when we were talking about this part, except just cutting out one of them is fine, but this time I've cut out loads of them. I've also used the bit in the middle as well and gone really lacy, stuck it onto a self-adhesive sheet and sprinkled glitter for all the holes. And this was on top of some of the pink card that of course comes in your bundle as well. You're also going to notice those little gems are sunk in all the way around the side here, so they're going to work perfectly for that. And on the top here, I've painted over it with my clear varnish, my crystal lacquer style varnish, and then I've sprinkled on glitter, so I've got a really nice fine glitzy effect going on the top of my topper as well, because there's no reason we can't add more to them as well if we want to. Taking them little squares that we see on the side of them sheets, the die cut elements, real simple card, just layered up with one of the little sentiments in the middle, papers and cards in the background, nothing at all complicated here. Moving on, this time we've got our lacy design put in the background by our Ariel, another one of our sentiments, couple of frames and bits, and of course this beautiful paper that matches in perfectly with the detail that goes around the circle. Again, for this card, I've gone over it with my clear varnish. I've then sprinkled on my Frosty Dawn glitter, so it's got a nice shimmer to it as well. I've added smaller pearls this time into my Ariel die, but once more I've used one of them shaped scalloped edges to fit inside, which of course comes out of your die cut pack. Few more to go, I promise, and hopefully this has given you lots of ideas. So this one again, nice and simple, slightly larger pearls this time, simple background, simple matching in, varnish on top of the flower, again matching colour cards going underneath. Bit more coconut whites creeping in again this time, because I do think it matches in really nicely with a subtle cream that's going on in the middles of the flowers. Then we go on to the more complicated cards. So I've shown you all of the simples. Then we go on to the complicated cards. So this is one of my fold flat multi-panel cards. Now you're going to find instructions for something similar to this on our website, on the blog. We did one with paper cuts, but it's ever so simple to do. It's basically take a sheet of card and score it every 2 inches to make up your panels, and then just add on some card at the end to make the insert piece. This 2-inch bit can alter if you don't want the gaps to be quite as big or you wish to use less card, but it's basically score all the way across to make like a little set of stairs, and then just add your panels on. So I've glued on my panels on the top of them. These are 4-inch panels just by the height of the card, which is A4, to give you an idea. But this really is for you to play around with, doesn't have to be exactly the same. And then I've just taken my components and I've added them on slightly further out as the steps go down, so that you still get to see a little sneaky peek of each one, but it folds relatively flat. Obviously we've got quite a lot of depth of card here, but relatively flat so you can post it. But when your recipient receives it, they can stand it out and then they can see all of your patterned papers all working perfectly. Then of course we've got our layers with our toppers going on. We've got our corners coming off of one of the die cut sheets as well, and it's all just going to bring it together. You should also see some of the strips of paper I've cut to go down on these panels as well. So a little bit more complicated. Talking of more constructionary cards, this is another one of my collapsible pillar cards. So again, you're going to find instructions for this. I think we might have done a video for this on YouTube, or if not, there's instructions on the blog. Have a little look around, but basically make a tube, 2 different tubes, and stick them between your square pieces of card so that when you wish to post it, it will all collapse down and go relatively flat, so you can pop it into an envelope or into a small box depending on what you're doing with it, and then you can build it back up when they receive it at the other end and display your card as you wish to see it. Again, obviously we have our cosmos flowers, we have our Ariel die going on around on the corners here. I've just trimmed my Ariel dies, so I've literally taken like a little right corner out of them so that they will fit in around the pillars. If you knew where you was going with the project beforehand, you could have glued your Ariel die flat and put it under your pillars if you find that easier. The choice is yours, but I actually quite like them sort of covering over part of the pillar as they are. and putting them on with some foam pads so they sit out slightly further, but the choice is yours. Then of course on the front here we've got one of our topper bits, papers of course from the sets as well, so everything's going to coordinate for you. Then that lovely scalloped die that we spoke about. Now we mentioned that will stay into the front of your card, didn't we? We said how that's going to stay on the card. So I've taken an 8x8 card. I've cut the panel out of the front of the card so that it's ready to work with. And then I've just put in a false back to it. And you can see again this on our blog, how to do that. You'll see some domed cards on there. If you get stuck, just let me know and I can always add the link for you to go and find these videos and bits if you get stuck. But there is the instructions to put these little panels in the back. Just change the size depending on the card you're working with and how pronounced you want the dome to be. The smaller the back, the more domed it's going to be. The bigger the back, the flatter it's going to be. But I've just made my dome, put some card behind it, and then on the inside I've used my papers, my aerial die, my little toppers, just so everything coordinates together. And then lastly, I'm going to give you a sneaky peek at the project that we are going to be doing in the middle of the month video. Middle of the month is a loose term for when we get around to uploading it, but roughly the middle of the month, so you know it's coming. We're going to do a collapsible pillar card with smaller pillars basically, and there will be details and measurements for all the pillars and the bits you need to know, but it's going to sit together quite nicely. You can see that we've used our aerial die to go across the edges here. I could also give you a little bit of a sneaky peek. On one of our pages, this one here, we have the Radiant Rings embossing folder. Don't buy that yet. That's coming up in a future kit, I promise you. Stock has already arrived and that will be heading into one of our future hand-picked by bundles. So bear with us on that, it's coming. But the rest of it all decorated with the papers, the dies, Cosmos flower if you do need a flower to decorate on the edge there. And again, this one's going to fold down relatively flat so you can pop it into an envelope if you wish to. Details on how this one is made with a bit more complete terms and measurements will be, as I say, mentioned on that video. And hopefully by then I would have stuck this back on and it won't fall off, because I will be honest, that's the second time it's done it. So I'll pop it back on. That's the joy of foam. There we go, we're back together. But that one will be constructed on that video. So that hopefully gives you an overview of your whole set and why you hopefully can't live without it, because it's a lovely set and I love all the floral details. So if we now jump to a little demo and show you how we can just work these together. Very quick and simple, I promise you. Nothing at all complicated, but that's actually one of the bits I liked about this kit, was how simple it is to play with and how simple it is to work with. So we're going to start off with our card blank. Now we're going to use a scalloped 8x8 card. Now I don't know if you're aware of this, we sell these on the website. They're not the biggest seller, to be honest with you, but I absolutely love them. And they're quite new, but we do a couple of different sizes of the scalloped cards. And I just think they're so pretty, because it's not an overpronounced scallop, naming no brands, but I've had other brands of cards before. And the scallop comes in so far to the middle of the card that you haven't actually really got a lot to do. And then when you put your panel on it, you've got these massive scallops and you don't really know what to put in them. You feel you need a decoration, but what do you put in half a scallop? So instead these ones are quite shallow and I think that's quite nice. So we're going to bring in a blue panel, and this one's going to be different to the one I did before, by the way. I haven't gone completely bonkers. I know that one's pink, we can see the pink layers. We're going to change it up slightly. We're then going to bring in our lovely sort of check tartan style background, and we're going to pop that on with some glue. And we're going to pop that on the top. Now I did warn you this is going to be a quick demo, there's nothing complicated here at all. We're going to bring in some white card and we're going to pop that into the middle. Now the problem here is because we are working on a check, I've got to be proper accurate with my layers, because if I go wonky you're going to spot it a mile away, which is never good. We're then going to use a piece of coconut white card. I'm going to put that in the middle. So actually this is quite a nice time for you to see the difference or the subtlety between coconut white and white card, because it really is just that next stage down, that next step, which is a really lovely place for it to be. We're then going to take our dotty design. Now I've cut this out of a piece of pearl card and I'm just going to run some glue around the edge of this. Now I haven't used one of the noble dies on the edge. I have just cut it with a guillotine so that it's nice and flat to the edge. and it's ready to work with. Now I know that I'm going to cover up a lot of this middle part, so I'm going to be a bit messy here with my glue because for speed it doesn't matter if the glue comes through because we're going to cover it with our topper piece. So we're going to bring that down and we're going to pop that onto the top, knowing that if we get a bit of seepage or a little bit of glue on there, it really doesn't matter. Now I've already gone ahead and put my foam tape on the back, so we can bring that off, bring the lids off, and we can pop that into the middle. Give that a little bit of a squidge. And then we're going to talk about the pieces we're going to put on the top. So one of the bits I quite like with this set is the way that we had them components that all match. Now these are already popped out for us. So I'm going to bring in a square of white card. I'm going to use this frame and I'm going to pop that onto the white so that we have the white shining through. We're then going to take our glue and we're going to pop this flat onto the front of our card. And I like the idea of glue because it gives us a bit of a chance to move it around if we need to, because we're now going to bring in our corners. Now one of the bits of the corners I really liked is the way that the pattern actually matches all the way around it. So for instance, the flowers are currently going up. When we bring in the bottom corner, the flowers are still going to be going up. The pattern doesn't twist, it's going to continue on. And we're going all the way out to the outside colour, so the outside coconut white, so that we see a little bit more of that lovely pattern that we've created with our die. That die, by the way, I think that'd make really nice sides to boxes or tops to boxes. So if you're somebody who enjoys making boxes, I think that's a really lovely design for you to be using for those. I don't think I've ever done that, but I certainly want to, because I think it's just so delicate and pretty. We're then going to bring in our panel for the middle, and we're changing panel slightly from the one that was on that one. And we're going to pop this directly into the centre so that it is ready to work with. And then we're going to bring in our clear varnish. So all we're going to do with this is take off the lid. We have an ultra fine nozzle on there already, and we're just going to drop it down and spread it around our flower. Now I tend to stop just shy of the edge slightly, so that I know when it sort of spreads out, it's not going to go out over the edge of the flower and beyond the point I need it to be. We can always tease it out further if we need to, but if we put too much on, it can be a bit tricky to try and remove it. So we're going to go on to the next one, and we're just going to colour this one in, making sure we fill in all of the areas. Then we're going to go up to the top one, fill that one on. Then, as I mentioned, we can add more to these. So think of your coloured glitters, think of your clear glitters, think of any of them mediums you like to sprinkle onto things, or that you're using in your quartz crystal backgrounds, bits like that. There's no reason why we can't add these on. Or if you're trying to add glitters onto things that you've sort of struggled to do before, this can be a good medium to work with. So obviously on my one, I've left it be just as it is. It's just left to go shiny. But for this one, I thought we would bring in some Diamond Frost glitter. We're just going to sprinkle that on the top, let that dry and tap off the excess. Now in honesty, if I wasn't demoing this, I would do that before I put it onto my card so that I don't have to worry about glitter going anywhere else, but that would be boring if it was to do how we'd actually do it. So it's just an option for you to know that you can pre-prep your bits, but if you don't, not the end of the world. I'm going to leave that one to dry, and then all I would do is tie a ribbon around it, add on a couple of pearls and complete my card. As I said, nothing complicated, but this is the joy of having a really lovely set to work with, where you know everything's going to coordinate for you, everything's going to work together. All you've got to do really is put in a little bit of time and play with it. Obviously, if you have forgot, we had your free paper pads, we have your gems, we've got your 2 different dies, and we've got your 3 different pieces of ribbon. So you've got 3 options for the ribbon on the side of that card if you did want to add a ribbon to it, or a bow to it maybe, or a little bit of a detail. Now, I haven't mentioned too much about how you order these. These are available on our Craftmania website, which is www.craftmaniacrafts.com. If you don't like to order online, that's not a problem at all. Give us a call. We're open from 9 AM to 7 PM, 7 days a week. And you will talk to the lovely Daphne, who is ready to take your orders, who is actually my mum. So I can tell you she is really lovely. And she'll help you out if you're not good at ordering online, or if you've got any questions, just give us a call and she will happily help you. In the UK, because you've spent over £5, your P&P is completely free on this bundle as well. So your £30 will get it delivered directly to your door free of charge. If you live internationally and you wish to order internationally, not a problem at all. Pop onto the website, you'll find a customer service tab at the top of the screen. Click that and it will drop down, and there's one of them, I believe, that says international shipping. Click that and it will tell you how it all works, but it's not a problem. We will send anything anywhere in the world. Now, earlier I did mention we would love to see what you create with the kit, because it really is about seeing what you get up to and what you make and how you interpret some of these ideas. I have quite a limited time, to be honest, to play with these, so I sort of give you a foundation to start with, but it's really seeing what you do with it that really makes me happy. So if you'd like to, pop onto our Facebook group. It's called Create with Craftmania and Jamie Rodgers, and have a little look on there. You can share all of your creations with us. Just please follow the rules, but they'll come up and you can okay them before you join. It's a closed group, so if you've made a project for a loved one and you don't wish them to see it, don't worry. When you share in our group, it stays within the group. Nobody else from the outside, unless they're a group member, can see your projects. You can share with us anything that's upcoming. You can also ask us questions as well, and I think that's quite important. We're always there to answer any of your questions. You have myself or Zoe on hand, and we're both there really to try and assist you. There's also lovely competitions and bits. We do design challenges and all sorts. But I could waffle about the group for hours. You're just going to have to go check it out. I think we've got about 2,000 members at the moment, so it's a lovely community to come and join in with. I've covered your postage, I've told you all about your bundle. Last thing I need to tell you, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We keep trying to bring out as much content as we can, as many videos as we can, as many ideas as we can, and one of the things that drives us to do that is having you all on board. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell so you get notifications, and if you enjoyed today's video, please either share it with your friends or leave us a comment, or just let us know that you enjoyed it, because that's always lovely to hear. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the middle of the month with the next demo from this collection. Bye for now.